What's up, everyone? It is your host, Ghost, coming to you live with another wonderful video. Sorry for being a little late here. I was a little slow this morning, per usual. Um, I do have a hard out at like 8:30. So I'm gonna try and get through all of this. That's why I was also trying to rush down to get here so I can be on time, but that apparently wasn't gonna happen today. It's cold, my bones are old. No. So what I do plan to talk about um is a white student killed by a group of black students in Las Vegas. The media isn't reporting on this, mainstream media, as far as I know. So yeah. And then a New York man is arrested for saving a life, and oddly enough, even the woman he saved is against him. And then Tim Scott has ended his presidential campaign. So we'll look at that. Donald Trump unveils his second term agenda. Biden embarrasses himself again during Veterans Day. And then we'll watch two videos. Hopefully, we'll have time to get to them. One is, compliments are now microaggressions, according to one black woman. And then a funny CNN clip. That's the plan for the day. But yeah. Sorry. Sorry. But yeah. So sorry for last week, last couple days. I got sick on Wednesday, and yeah, I kind of fucked up my my day. Um, I got really sick. So on Thursday, I just slept in, and then Friday I slept in as well. So, all right, let's get into it. So as far as I know, mainstream media isn't talking about this, and maybe you've seen it on Twitter, X, whatever you want to call it, or anything. Um, Maybe you haven't. So this is from Blaze Media. Um, Cowardly violence is pathetic. Father speaks out after teen son is brutally beaten to death in Las Vegas by 15 teenagers. So here we go. As you can see, this is was written on November 12th. All right, a teenage boy lost his life after he was severely beaten by 15 people, 15 black people, or I think the majority of them were black, near a high school in Las Vegas, according to his father. Las Vegas Metropolitan Police officers responded to a battery call near Rancho High School on November 1st. So this happened 11 days ago. Well, 12 days ago now. KVVU TV reported that the police found a teen who was battered and bleeding from the head. The teen was rushed to a local hospital in critical condition, later placed on life support. However, the teen died last Tuesday at University Medical Center, according to the father. Jonathan Lewis Sr. said his 17-year-old son, Jonathan Lewis Jr., died after being thrashed by 15 people, mostly black people. A video of the brutal attack on social media emerged on social media last week, showing the teen was being savagely pummeled as he tried to run away. Lewis Sr. said he believes the deadly onslaught began after Jonathan stood up for one of his smaller friends, according to Las Vegas Review-Journal. A couple of people attacked him, and they weren't able to hurt him enough, and they all attacked him at once, the dad stated. There we go. Fox News reported that the Las Vegas Metro Police Department Homicide Unit is investigating the case. However, no arrests have been made thus far. According to KLAS-TV, Lewis also said the family was told by investigators they plan to charge several students involved in the fight with murder. Good. The father said, "We're all just trying to process this. The whole family is in shock." The father told the outlet, "There's just a failure of humanity to recognize that we need to teach our youth how to coexist." The father told KVVU-TV that the fatal physical assault was a horrific tragedy. Is reflective of the divisive, conflict-based, uncaring state that our society and humanity is currently facing with how we interact with our community. Empathy and love are great strength, and cowardly violence is pathetic. A true warrior would never cowardly beat up one person just because the 2 or 3 members of the group couldn't beat the one warrior. True warrior would let the others learn and grow. Okay. The teen's father said his family denounced violence as a means of sociological conflict. He said the family believes that people being respectful, compassionate, caring are the great strengths of community, and emphasize that those are the values that the warriors of our family teach. Okay. Lewis Sr. remembers his son as a loving, gift-giving, kind, fierce young man who loved the community and cared for others. Father said his son was an aspiring artist who was considered joining the military like his grandfather, who served in the U.S. Navy. The father revealed, "I hope there's a way I can find forgiveness in their heart and find a way to be able to come to terms with what they've done. I love my children with all my heart, and it's just unimaginable that we could ever come to this point." All right, and then here's going to be the video. Oh, it's not even. Hold on, take me a second. I gotta. All right, this is the video. In case there's any audio, I guess.
Video is making the rounds online, showing what's believed to be the fight that happened Wednesday afternoon.
Like right there.
Metro officers responding to reports of a student fight across the street from Rancho High School. The investigation revealing the victim got into a physical altercation with 15 people before cops arrived.
Nothing that large, like 3 people maybe, but like 15, I've never heard of that before.
Rancho High Junior Antonio Green says he's a classmate and saw the video.
It could happen to anybody. It could happen for me just because I have a natural mean face. It could happen to me just from looking at somebody the wrong way.
Neighbor Greg Bostic was shocked to see it.
From the video, that's a problem. You can't just retaliate with hate, and get back and revenge all the time.
Oops.
Video is made.
From the video, that's a problem. You can't just retaliate with hate, and get back and revenge all the time. Sometimes you got to talk it out.
Off camera, a neighbor tells us that he helped carry the victim to the campus parking lot. Bostic says he saw the aftermath.
Somebody was laying on the ground and they were like out of commission and incapacitated.
Metro says the victim appeared to be unconscious when school staff performed CPR.
Right in that parking lot, I saw somebody getting chest compressions, a CPR, the police came, ambulance, fire truck, and they kind of dealt with it.
All right, so there you go. Now, it's a very tragic thing. Apparently, this kid, like I said, like it said in the report, this kid was doing nothing except standing up for one of his smaller friends. And before I get into this, I just want to show this. Oh, look, Fox News. All right, Fox News has reported on it yesterday. Okay, I just want to show you what it was yesterday. Yesterday, it was this. Okay, this was yesterday. So now we got Fox News. They finally reported it, 12 days later. But this is when I looked it up yesterday, this is all it was. I wish I took a screenshot. So it didn't get to it got all the way down to here, and then a few media outlets started talking about it. But it wasn't even top. Like it was this person, the CF.org, and then it was BizPack, then Newsweek, then the Post Millennial, and then the Blaze, and then finally we get to MSN and Fox 5 Vegas and ABC News. So mainstream media really wasn't touching this. And we all know why. It was because it was a white guy or a white kid who got assaulted by a bunch of black guys, and that doesn't fit the goddamn narrative. If this was a black kid getting jumped by a bunch of white people, well, fuck, man, racism, riots, everything, everything would be happening. But because it's not, it's not that big a deal, right? Hold on. Sorry. But yeah, I mean, it's just crazy how, 12 days and it was all over Twitter. It wasn't really on the news or anything. Not that I saw anyways. But, we all know that if this was, a black guy who got beat up by a bunch of white people, it'd be all over the news. Like it would totally be all over the news. But, this poor kid gets his ass kicked and killed. And, no news outlet really talks about it till 12 days later. It's just ridiculous. It's really tragic. I feel sorry for the father. I know it's I can't imagine what that father's going through right now. His son, his kid is killed after standing up for his kid, one of his friends. And, he goes, 3v1 and it seems to be all right because they're kids. And then so a bunch of them just start jumping him all at once for whatever reason. All right. Well, let's move on. So a New York man has been arrested after saving a woman from being mugged on the subway by scaring off the would-be robber with a warning shot. John Rote of Queens charged with reckless endangerment after allegedly scaring off a mugger with gunshots. New York police have arrested a man who said they opened fire on a subway platform Tuesday night that scared off a would-be mugger who himself is facing attempted robbery charge. No one was hurt in the altercations, which erupted after a 49-year-old homeless man allegedly tried to mug an unidentified 40-year-old woman near the exit. NYPD arrested John Rote, 43, of Queens, on Wednesday afternoon, hours after asking for the public to help track him down in connection with the altercation on the 49th Street NRW station platform that evening. Before, Rote overheard Matthew Rochette, the mugging suspect, demanding the woman give him money or he'd steal her purse, according to authorities. Rote is accused of firing shots, interrupting the attempted robbery without striking anyone. Surveillance images show him calmly walking out through the turnstile carrying a tote bag from the popular camera store, a green book bag, and a tablet. Now he faces charges of criminal possession of a weapon, reckless endangerment, criminal possession of a firearm, and menacing. Rote could not immediately be reached out for comment. I want to be clear, we don't tolerate this kind of conduct in NYC Transit, period, the city top transit official Richard Daves said in a statement after Rote's arrest. Once again, cameras recorded a perpetrator, and we're grateful that the NYPD made an arrest. Thank goodness no one was hurt, but what occurred was outrageous, reckless, and unacceptable. So they don't tolerate, someone shooting a gun with a warning shot to stop someone from mugging someone, but they apparently tolerate, muggings in the New York Transit. Transit crime in the city has declined by 3.6% so far this year after surging during the coronavirus pandemic and anti-police protests over the death of George Floyd in Minneapolis. They're 29% higher than they were in 2021. Year-to-date, police statistics show some of the attacks have been particularly brutal, with dozens of incidents of travelers being shoved from behind in front of moving subway cars. Last month, police arrested Sabir Jones, 39, after he pushed a 30-year-old woman into the side of a departing train on the nearby 53rd Street and 5th Avenue subway station. She suffered life-threatening injuries. He is a repeat offender known to police as suffering from mental health issues. What the... Okay, this has nothing to do with the goddamn story. So yeah, they don't tolerate you shooting a gun off in the subway, but they tolerate people mugging. All right, now before I speak more about this, we'll get into this. So the New York City woman who was getting mugged by a homeless man before being saved by a man with a gun says the gun scared her and she wished he didn't use it. He should have just let her get mugged. It gets even worse. The woman said she would have seen the man as a bigger hero if he helped her without using a gun. I'm not getting into that part. Now the woman involved in the attack says it's scary to think that people are carrying guns around New York City, and she wishes Rote didn't use the gun. Of course, I'm happy that the man tried to help me and that no one was hurt or injured during the incident, but it's scary to think that people are carrying around guns. I don't understand why people do it. They see it as their only means of protection. Yeah, no shit, she said to the New York Post. In this case, the man risked a lot to protect me, his safety, the safety of others on the platform. Yes, I do think he's a hero, but I don't know. I would likely think of a bigger hero if he tried to help me without the gun. And in my eyes, the gun is a little extreme. What a So, if you see this chick, don't help her. She's not that grateful. Look, I don't care if you help me, whether it's with a gun or your hands, as long as you fucking help me. I don't give a shit. Fucking liberal. All right, what is this?
Sir, what happened?
What were you trying to do? Were you trying to protect someone?
Okay. All right, there we go. So now my opinions on this. look, I think the guy, was trying to help. He was, doing his best to help someone out. Unfortunately, the way he went about it isn't the correct way. Look, when you use a gun, you need to you use it in the defense of life-threatening attacks. Deadly attacks. Okay, you can't just use a gun willy-nilly on anything. If he had heard, "Give me your money or I'm going to kill you," to the lady, then all right, that's one thing. But apparently all he heard was all he heard was, give me your money or I'm going to steal your purse. All right, those are two very separate things. The use of a deadly weapon needs to be proportionate to the use of someone else trying to do deadly harm to another person. For example, if this mugger was brutally beating the shit out of this woman, like the black teens were doing to the white student, then the use of a firearm would have been appropriate. If he had a gun, the mugger had a gun and was pointing it at the woman, that would have been an appropriate use of the firearm. Now, another appropriate use for the firearm would have been to pull it out, point it at the guy, yell at him and all that stuff without pulling the trigger. The warning shot's what fucked him up. Don't give warning shots, okay, people? Warning shots are not a smart thing, okay? When you're using it for self-defense or defense of others, warning shot isn't really something that's appropriate because, it can potentially harm other people and you get hit with a reckless endangerment. And the idea of self-defense or defense of others is you didn't have another choice. If you had the choice to do a warning shot, you could do probably a lot of other things. And when like I said, you'll get hit with this reckless endangerment because you're not intentionally shooting at someone to defend yourself or others. You're using it as a way to dissuade someone. But if you shoot it at, some, in the air or something like that, that could actually potentially hurt other people that aren't in the, that aren't, involved or anything like that, innocent bystanders. So that's the issue, because if you shoot at something, it skips, ricochets, hits someone else. Unless he can say like, no, I fired at this particular area because I knew there wasn't anyone there. I knew there would have been like a solid object. I knew the rounds I was using would smatter on a hard object and all that stuff. Unless he can articulate like he intentionally fired in this area because he knew there wouldn't be any damage done to anyone, or that might help him. Probably won't, but that could potentially help him. It would have been better if he pulled it out, walked up to it, and like pointed at the dude like, "Hey, get the fuck out of here." That probably would have been a lot better. And then if the mugger goes after him and charges him, then you could fire and be all right. That would have been better. But if you go and shoot a warning shot, it's like, unfortunately, the guy was trying to help someone out, but reckless endangerment, I think, is an appropriate charge. I don't know about the criminal possession of a weapon unless he's legally not able to possess a weapon. But the reckless endangerment, I think, is an appropriate charge unless the platform was empty. If the platform was empty, then it might have been like this might be a different story. I don't know. But yeah, don't use warning shots, because when it comes to self-defense, there's an intentionality that has to be in it. You have to intentionally be shooting someone as a way to just defend yourself. And if you're not intending to shoot someone, but you're trying to scare them with a shot, that's I do agree with the charge of reckless endangerment. It's kind of funny in the fact that he's trying to do some good, but he went about it the wrong way and ends up getting arrested. I think it's really funny that this woman's like, well, the gun was very scary. Like, I was getting mugged. I appreciate him stepping in, but he shouldn't have shot at. Look, lady, you should be just happy you didn't get your shit stolen. But yeah, but that's my opinion on the whole thing. It's you got to be very careful when you're using a firearm to defend anything, because it's an all, it's a last, not a last resort, but it's, a final resort that can get you in a lot of trouble if used inappropriately. Like I said, that gun. Am I black? Woohoo! No, I'm not black. Sorry, that threw me off. But yeah, you just gotta be careful when using a firearm. Oh, yeah, that's cool. Thanks, Woohoo. No, not black. I'm an islander. So sometimes I wish I was black, but mostly for the size and the lower sex organ. But no, just a island boy. Anyways, but yeah, that's what I gotta say. Is you gotta be careful when you're using a firearm in any self-defense thing at all. Mostly you gotta ensure that you are defending against a deadly threat or a threat of bodily harm. Like, for example, the high school students, the black students beating the shit out of the white student. That would have been, that could have been appropriate use of a firearm, because there is a threat of deadly of death or bodily harm as the kid's on the ground, they're kicking him. So that would have been an appropriate use of a firearm. The mugging, although I appreciate the guy wanting to help and everything, it's not really an appropriate use, especially discharging it without without aiming at a particular target. If you just fire it in the air, like when Biden said, oh, if you got a bunch of people coming to your house and come and just shoot your shotgun in the air, yeah, don't do that shit. It's a very bad idea. That'll catch you a charge. All right, let's move on. Speaking of black, shout out to Woohoo. Tim Scott has announced his decision to suspend his 2024 presidential campaign. Doesn't surprise me. Oh, and Woohoo, make sure you give me a follow and a like. I appreciate it. But yeah, Tim Scott has announced his decision to suspend his 2024 presidential campaign. I'm not surprised by this. Anyone who watched the debate last week, probably you shouldn't be surprised by this either. The dude's really bad. I complained about this yesterday, or not yesterday. I complained about it during the debate. He was, he'd have these big old like, da 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 da, and then he'd like bring it down for some reason, and it annoyed the absolute shit out of me. He'd be like, "Oh, this is going on. Oh, and we need to do it's kind of like that high on himself type shit where he's getting loud and then quiet." I don't know what you call it, but it was annoying the shit out of me during the debates. All right. Scott told Fox News he has no plans to endorse another candidate for the GOP nomination, and he is not interested in being vice president. Okay, cool. Yeah. And also Tim Scott was like dragging the polls. I think he was able to get secure the third debate seat at the last minute. He wasn't really doing well. South Carolina, Tim Scott, and also he didn't answer a lot of the questions in the third debate. He's kind of failing, honestly. South Carolina Senator Tim Scott announced he suspended his 2024 presidential campaign in an appearance on Fox News Sunday night in America with Trey Gowdy. I think voters, who are the most remarkable people on the planet, have been really clear that they're telling me not now, Tim. No, not ever, Tim, Scott said. In addition to ending his campaign, the Senate emphasized he has no plan to endorse another candidate in the race for the Republican nomination. The best way for me to be helpful is not to weigh in. Yeah, also, to be fair, your endorsement wouldn't really mean shit. Scott also gave a thumbs down to the idea that he could serve as the nominee's running mate on the Republican Party 2024 national ticket. Being vice president has never been on my to-do list, he said. The news was a surprise to some of the senator's staff, as a handful of campaign aides confirmed to Fox News. They were not given a heads up on Scott's decision ahead of his live appearance Sunday night, but the senator did hold an all-staff call following his interview on the Fox News channel. That's weird. Scott, a rising star in the GOP and the only black Republican in the Senate, launched his presidential campaign in May at the event in North Charleston, South Carolina. The senator showcases optimistic, positive message anchored in conservatism. All right, gotta turn on here. Scott standing just a mile. Scott standing just a few miles from where he grew up highlighted that we live in a land where it is possible for a kid raised in poverty by a single mother in a small apartment to one day serve in the People's House and maybe even the White House. The senator told Fox News at the time he was stunned at the hunger for something positive as long as it anchored in conversation, as long as you have a backbone. Okay. His positive, uplifting message failed to resonate in a combative GOP presidential nomination race dominated by former President Trump, who is spotlighting his grievances during his third consecutive run for the White House. Scott's early momentum took a hit at the first GOP primary debates in August, where he avoided the numerous verbal fistfights and rarely enjoyed the glare of the primetime spotlight. He told Fox News after the debate, the loudest voice too often say too little. While Scott was more aggressive in the second GOP debate in late September, he had fallen further behind Florida Governor Ron DeSantis and former ambassador to the United Nations and former South Carolina Governor Nikki Haley, who are battling for the second place in the Republican primary polls, though still far behind Trump. Scott struggled to make last week's third debate, but ultimately qualified. He faced a tough task ahead in trying to make the stage at the next month's fourth debate, where the donors and polling threshold is to qualify are higher. Stuck in the low to mid single digits, the Scott campaign announced it's going all in on Iowa, which leads off the GOP presidential nominating calendar, as the expense of New Hampshire, which holds first primary and second overall contest in the Republican schedule. God damn it. These fucking ads. Fuck this shit up. In a sign of things to come, the Scott Aligned Super PAC late last month canceled its massive ad blitz on behalf of the Senator's 2024 campaign. And while Scott launched his campaign with a formidable war chest, thanks to $22 million left over from his convincing 2022 Senate reelection, his fundraising in July to September third quarter was anything but impressive. Senator had $14 million cash left on hand at the end of September in the spinning room following the third GOP debate. He told Fox News Digital that we still have the most money of any candidate running for president other than Donald Trump. But sources in Scott's political orbit says the campaign cash was going to be an issue going forward. Just minutes before he announced he suspended his White House bid, Scott campaign sent out what would be the final fundraising email to supporters with the subject line, "One Last Chance." Reacting to the news, DeSantis said on social media that Tim Scott is a strong conservative with bold ideas about how to get our country back on track. I respect his courage to run this campaign and thank him for his service to America and the U.S. Senate. I look forward to him continuing to be a leader in our party for years to come. Haley, a fellow South Carolinian, wrote, Tim Scott is a good man of faith and an inspiration to so many. The Republican primary was made better by his participation in it. South Carolina is blessed to have him and continue to have him in as our senator. Scott and Haley share many of the same political friends, allies, donors, which caused some friction away from the spotlight. When she was South Carolina governor, Haley named Scott, who had just been elected to a second term in the House, to Senate in December 2022 or 2012 to succeed retiring Senator Jim DeMint. Scott won a special election in 2014 to serve the last 2 terms of DeMint's term and won re-election to 6-year terms to 2016 and 2012. Scott is not up for re-election until 2028, but he said during last year's campaign it would be his last run for the Senate. The field of GOP presidential contenders, which ballooned to over a dozen by the summer, is winnowing. Last month, former Vice President Mike Pence became the first major Republican presidential campaign candidate to drop out of the 2024 GOP nomination race. That's because he was way behind and failing miserably. 4 contenders who failed to qualify for the debates also ended their presidential bid. They are one-time CIA spy and former 3-term Texas Representative William Hurd, Miami Mayor Francis Suarez, business leader and quantity control expert Perry Johnson, and 2021 California gubernatorial election candidate and former considered talk radio host Larry Elder. Former Arkansas Governor Asa Hutchinson, who qualified for the first debate but didn't make the stage at the second and third showdown, remains in the race for now. Hutchinson, whose shoestring campaign is running low on cash, has said he will reevaluate his standing come Thanksgiving. You should just bow out. North Dakota Governor Doug Burgum, who narrowly missed qualifying for Wednesday's debate, is a multimillionaire due to his private sector success in the tech industry. He has more than ample resources to stay in the race, continues to campaign in Iowa and New Hampshire. Former New Jersey Governor Chris Christie, who is making his second White House run, and multi-billionaire biotech entrepreneur Vivek Ramaswamy, who have both made the stage at the first 3 debates, also remain in the race. Scott's announcement came after his canceled campaign swing over the weekend after coming down with the flu. When talking to Trey Gowdy on Sunday night, the senator said he was looking forward to getting back on the campaign trail after recovering from the sickness. He then broke the news he was suspending his campaign. What the fuck? His departure from the 2024 race comes less than a week after Scott shared he has a girlfriend named Mindy Noyce. She appeared on stage with him after Wednesday's debate. Scott, a 58-year-old bachelor, teased during the summer and autumn months that he was dating someone and described her as a lovely Christian woman in Iowa in September. All right. Good dude couldn't be honest to save his life, apparently. Oh, I look forward to getting back on campaign. Nah, I'm just going to quit. What the fuck, dude? Just looking something up. So currently the polls are 56.6% for Trump, 14.1% for DeSantis, Haley's 8.7%, Ramaswamy is 5.3%, Christie is 3.1%, Burgum is 0.7%, and Hutchinson is 0.6%. I'm surprised Nikki Haley is still above Ramaswamy. Ramaswamy owned Nikki Haley last debate. She was like almost about to what's it called? Will Smith Ramaswamy. Keep my daughter's name out your damn mouth. She nearly did it. I saw it. It was bad. He owned her. And then she tried, he makes a comment calling her Dick Cheney and 6-inch heels. And then she's like, "These heels are for our ammunition." It was a bad comeback that made no sense, and I think people are still baffled. All right. Speaking of GOP candidates, Trump. God King Trump. Trump unveils ambitious second-term agenda, mass deportations, new Muslim ban, tariffs on all imports. A mass deportation operation, a new Muslim ban, tariffs on all imported goods, and freedom cities built on federal land. Much of the 2024 presidential campaign has been dominated by the myriad investigations into former President Donald Trump and the subsequent charges against him. But with less than a year until Election Day, Trump is dominating the races for the Republican nomination and has already laid out a sweeping set of policy goals should he win a second term. His ideas, even the issues he focuses on most, are widely different from President Joe Biden's proposals. If implemented, Trump's plans would represent a dramatic government overhaul, arguably more consequential than that of his first term. His presidency, especially in the early years, was marked with chaos, infighting, and wave of hastily written executive orders that were quickly overturned by the courts. Some of his current ideas will probably end up in courts or impeded by Congress, but Trump's campaign and allied groups are assembling policy books with detailed plans. A look at his agenda. Dismantling the deep state. Trump would try to strip tens of thousands of career employees of their civil service protections. That way he could be fired as he seeks to totally obliterate the deep state. He would try to accomplish that by reissuing a 2020 election executive order known as Schedule F that would allow him to reclassify masses of employees with a particular focus. He said on corrupt bureaucrats who have weaponized our justice system and corrupt actors in our national security intelligence apparatus. Given his anger at the FBI and federal prosecutors pursuing criminal cases against him, Trump would likely target people linked to those prosecutions for retribution. Beyond the firings, he wants to crack down on government officials who leak to reporters. He also wants to require the federal employees pass a new civil service test. Trump has pledged to immediately stop the invasion of our southern border and end illegal immigration. As part of his plan, he says he would immediately direct U.S. Immigration Customs Enforcement to undertake the largest deportation operation in U.S. history. He would target people who are legally living in the United States but harbor jihadist sympathies and revoke the student visas of those who espouse anti-American and anti-Semitic views. In a bid to secure the U.S.-Mexico border, Trump says he will move thousands of troops currently stationed overseas and shift federal agents, including the Drug Enforcement Administration, and the FBI to immigration enforcement. He also wants to build more of the border wall. Trump wants to reimpose his travel ban that originally targets 7 Muslim-majority countries and expand it to keep radical Islamic terrorists out of the country. In the wake of the Hamas attacks on Israel, he has pledged to put in place ideological screening for immigrants. His aim barred dangerous lunatics, haters, bigots, and maniacs, as well as those who empathize with radical Islamic terrorists and extremists. To deter migrants, he said he would bring an end to birthright citizenship, using an executive order that would introduce a legal, untested interpretation of the 14th Amendment. The order would prevent federal agencies from granting automatic citizenship to children of people who are in the U.S. illegally. It would require that at least one parent to be a U.S. citizen or lawful permanent resident for their children to be eligible for passports, social security numbers, and other benefits. That makes perfect sense, honestly. Like, why just because your family entered illegally and then you gave birth here, should you be a citizen automatically? I mean, is this unreasonable, having at least one parent be a U.S. citizen or lawful permanent resident? Is that really unreasonable? Trump says he will issue a system of tariffs on perhaps 10% of most foreign goods. Penalties would increase if trading partners manipulate their currency or engage in unfair trading practices. He will urge Congress to pass a Trump Reciprocal Trade Act, giving the president authority to impose a reciprocal tariff on any country that imposes one on the U.S. Much of the agenda focused on China. Trump has proposed a 4-year plan to phase out Chinese imports of essential goods, including electronics, steel, and pharmaceuticals. He wants to ban Chinese companies from owning vital U.S. infrastructures in sectors such as energy, technology, and agriculture, and says he will force Chinese owners to sell any holdings that jeopardize national security. Foreign policies. Trump claims that even before he is inaugurated, he will have settled the war between Russia and Ukraine. That includes, he's saying, ending the endless flow of American treasure to Ukraine and asking European allies to reimburse the U.S. for the cost of rebuilding stockpiles. It is unclear whether he would insist that Russia withdraw from territories in Ukraine it seized in the war that it launched in February 2022. Trump has said he will stand with Israel in its war with Hamas and support Israel's effort to destroy the militant group. He says he will continue to fundamentally reevaluate NATO's purpose and mission. Trump says he will ask Congress to pass a bill establishing that only 2 genders are determined at birth and are recognized by the United States. As part of his effort on as part of his crackdown on gender-affirming care, he will declare that hospitals and healthcare providers that offer transitional hormones or surgeries will no longer meet federal health and safety standards and will be blocked from receiving federal dollars, including Medicaid and Medicare dollars. He will push Congress to prohibit hormonal or surgical intervention for transgender minors in all 50 states. Doctors typically guiding students towards therapy before medical intervention. At that point, hormonal treatments such as puberty blockers are far more common surgery. They have been available in the U.S. for more than a decade and a standard treatment backed by major doctors' organizations, including the American Medical Association. Energy. Trump's goal, he says, is for the U.S. to have the lowest cost energy and electricity of any nation in the world, including China. Under the mantra "drill, baby, drill," he says he will ramp up oil drilling on public lands and offer tax break to oil, gas, and coal production. He will roll back Biden's administration efforts to encourage the adoption of electric cars and reverse proposed new pollution limits that would require at least 54% of new vehicles sold in the U.S. to be electric in 2023 or in 2030. He again says he will exit the Paris Climate Accords and end wind subsidies and eliminate regulation imposed and proposed by the Biden administration targeting incandescent light bulbs, gas stove, dishwashers, and shower heads. Trump has pledged to terminate the Department of Education, but he wants to exert enormous influence over local school districts and college. He would push the federal government to give funding preferences to states and schools that abolish teacher tenure, adopt merit pay to reward good teachers, and allow the direct election of school principals by parents. Holy shit. He has said he would cut funding for any school that has a vaccine or mask mandate and would promote prayer in public schools. Trump has also says his school curriculum vowing to fight for patriotic education. He says that under his administration, schools will teach students to love their country, not to hate their country like they're taught right now, and will promote the nuclear family, including the roles of mothers and fathers and the things that make men and women different and unique. To protect students, he says he will support school districts that allow trained teachers to carry concealed weapons. He would provide federal funding to schools to hire veterans, retired police officers, other trained gun owners as armed school guards. Trump wants to force the homeless off city streets by building tent cities on large open parcels of inexpensive land. At the same time, he says he will work with states to ban urban camping, giving violators a choice of between arrest or receive treatment. He also wants to bring large mental institutions and to reinstitutionalize those who are severely mentally ill or dangerously deranged. Trump would again push to send the National Guard to cities such as Chicago that are struggling with violence. He would use the federal government funding and prosecuting authority to strong arm local governments. He says he will require local law enforcement agencies to receive Justice Department grants to use conservative police measures such as stop and frisk. As a deterrent, he says local police should be empowered to shoot suspected shoplifters in the act. Very simple. If you rob a store, you can fully expect to be shot as you're leaving the store, he said in one recent speech. God damn, dude. Trump has called for death penalty for drug smugglers and those who traffic women and children. He also has pledged a federal takeover of the national capital, calling Washington a dirty, crime-ridden death trap unbefitting of the country. Dude, Trump's going all in it, apparently. I don't agree with stop and frisk. I think that's a violation of our Fourth Amendment right. So stop and frisk is not bad. The deterrent of shooting if you rob the store, that's kind of funny. I don't think that would even come close to being at all. I don't agree with sending National Guards to cities and using a federal government to try and strong arm local government. If the local government wants to, deteriorate their city, let them. Large mental institutes and institutionalizing those with mental illness and deranged. I agree with that severely. I think that's we need to be able to institute these fucking people. Sending federal dollars to federal funding to schools to hire veterans, retired police officers, and train gun owners for armed school guards. Perfect. Makes perfect sense. I don't agree with the vaccine mandate. Cutting funding that has a vaccine mandate. I think a lot of the vaccines aren't good. I think the problem with the COVID one is it's untested. It was accelerated. There was no real testing done on it. It wasn't really carefully considered. It was just pushed on us. I think that's the problem with the COVID vaccine. That's not all vaccines. A lot of vaccines have been tested for forever, and that's that. And it's right. I think you should just said COVID. Teacher tenure, perfect. Abolishing teacher tenure. I mean, merit pay, that's brilliant. Yeah, that's great. And direct election of school principals by parents. Yeah, I think that's all good. Yeah, abolishing teacher tenure, like ending the teacher union, definitely. And like, who's gonna hate on adopting merit pay to reward good teachers? Who's gonna hate on that? I mean, they're gonna find a way, but who's gonna really hate on that? Energy. I think he also needs to add looking into nuclear, because nuclear is far more cleaner than oil. I think nuclear should have been part of his thing as well. Prohibiting hormonal and surgical intervention for transgenders minors. I agree with that 100%. I don't agree with the crackdown on gender affirming care. He will declare that hospitals and healthcare providers that offer transitional hormones or surgeries no longer. Well, I don't agree with this unless it's specifically minors. If you're an adult and you want to do this shit, go ahead and do it. That's my thing. Go ahead and do it. These trades is stuff on trade. Yeah. Especially since it, proposed a 4-year plan to phase out Chinese imports. Yeah, that's really great. Like, we can't go to war with someone when they import all our shit. The migrant stuff, yeah, I'm pretty much. Let's see. I don't really think I'm anything really against it. For the most part, I don't know about the view stuff and revoking student visas for views. I think if those views become actions, then revoke visas and whatnot and all that. I agree. But they have just the views, and that's all they do is have views. I don't think it's appropriate to revoke their visas. This is freedom to speak, the country of freedom of speech. Just saying. And then it's whole dismantling in deep state. Yeah, I'm down with that. And that shouldn't be surprising to anyone after all the shit he's been being put through. Yeah, that's not surprising. So you know what? Shout out to you, Trump. You know what's funny is a lot of the stuff he's saying. I think a large portion of people will agree with, especially what we've been through this last 4 years with Biden. I think you'll see a lot of people down with this. So we'll see. No wonder he's so high in the polls. All right, so Biden embarrassed himself on Veterans Day. They do that ceremony, I believe, at the Tomb of Unknown Soldiers, where the president puts the wreath and all that stuff. So this is President Biden. He has no idea what he's doing. The first sergeant has to not first sergeant, what is it? Sergeant first class. He had to point him out, no, you need to. He had to point him hey, you need to go sit over there. What is it? I think it's Sergeant first class. Hold on. I can hear my daughter. She's very upset about something. Jesus Christ. No. Yeah, Sergeant first class. 2? Yeah. All right, cool. I was right. Sergeant first class. Man, I'm good. But yeah, Biden's completely confused. Oh, what am I supposed to do? Huh? I'm so confused. That's our president, people. It's our president. He'll be proud of that. All right, let's watch this video. Apparently compliments are microaggressions, according to a black chick.
Yeah.
Hey, love, how are you?
She gave him a pretty curl. Now she
Can you please not talk about when I switch up my hair?
I think it's beautiful.
I know, but as a black person, to me it feels like a microaggression. I deal with it all the time at work, and you can make that face. I know. I'm just saying. I'm telling you how it makes me feel. Everyone's different, but personally, if you like there's pretty hair, you don't have to clarify that it was different each and every time because it makes me uncomfortable. I know this. I'm not looking for any excuses. It's just, it makes me uncomfortable.
How dare you talk about how I switched up my hair? How dare you compliment me? It's just too funny sometimes. Someone compliment your hair. Compliment my hair. What the? It makes me uncomfortable. I think of it as microaggression. I'm complimenting your hair. Your hair looks very nice. You know what? She's probably offended that you complimented her hair because it's not her real hair. It's actually a hair hat. So the fact that you're not actually complimenting her real hair and just the hair hat she is wearing, the wig she is wearing, it's very disrespectful, very microaggression-y. So that's probably it. I figured it out. That's it. She's wearing a hair hat. Therefore, it's not her real hair. So she's very offended that you would compliment her. All right. Last but certainly not least, I just saw that and it was just funny. She got all offended. Can you please not compliment me on my hair whenever I switch it up? You have nice hair. You don't appreciate me complimenting that your hair looks nice? Look, it's nice. Well, it's a microaggression. All right. She, like I said, she's upset because it's not her real hair. It's a hair hat. That's why. Funny as fuck. All right. And then finally, we're going to watch this just because it was hilarious. I saw this and I had to laugh. All right.
The best CNN clip of all time.
And they said, look, you can't have this opinion. It's too conservative. We're not going to allow it. I think that's a bad move. I'm a First Amendment absolutist. I believe in only two things completely: the First Amendment and boobs. And so once
I believe in only two things absolutely: the First Amendment and boobs. This man needs to be president immediately. Dictator for life. You know, oh, shoot. Shout out to this guy. All right. Just this chick's face is hilarious, too.
They made the
She,
decision.
like, what did I hear? Just what I thought here?
Allow a
you believe in the First Amendment and
non-sports-related commentary. They
Wait,
couldn't
hold
do it
on. I just want to make sure I heard you correctly as a woman anchoring the show. Did you
As a
say,
woman.
What did you say? You
Yeah.
believe in the First Amendment and BWBS?
Boobs. Two things that have only never let me down in this entire country's history: the First Amendment and boobs. So those are the only two things I believe in. Absolutely.
Technically,
Technically,
just like, look, let's be technical here. It's three things. The First Amendment and boobs. Those are three things, sir. All right, get that right. Three things.
still there too, and I just want to make sure I'm hearing you correctly. BOOZE or BOOBS? Because as a woman, I'm
As in boobs. I believe completely in the First Amendment and in boobs. Those are the only two things I believe 100% in
Three.
this country.
This has to be the best CNN clip of all.
As a woman, I'm very offended that you said boobs. Why? Why are you offended that I believe in boobs? Look, boobs have never let me down. All right, boobs have never hurt me. Boobs have never made me sad. I'm 100% with this guy. You know what? I'll give you another one of these. Yeah, no, I'm 100% behind this guy. Boobs all the way, people. Boobs all the way. Boobs are life. That guy was hilarious. I believe in boobs. First Amendment and boobs. Again, that's technically three things, sir. All right. She got so offended. It was hilarious. I love how people get offended. Too sensitive. All right. That's all I got for you guys today. I hope you guys enjoyed that. I had a few laughs. Some sadness going on, but some laughs too. Boobs. Woo, boobs. Make sure you follow me at official W Ghost on X. Best way to find out when I go live and everything. Make sure you give me a follow on Rumble if you're watching this on Rumble, or if you're on YouTube, rumble.com/withghost, and then my gaming channel, Gaming with Ghost, rumble.com/gaming with Ghost. Those links are in the description. Also in the description is my affiliation with Coffee Brand Coffee. Check them out. They have delicious coffee. My favorite is French toast, but they have a wide variety as well as teas and hot chocolate. So, give them a check out. Use the referral link. And also, if you want to coupon code, they give you 5% off. If you do a subscription, you can't get an additional 5% off because they already give you 10% off with a subscription. And then make sure that you still use that referral link because it gives me credit. All right. I hope you guys enjoyed the video. I certainly did, especially the last part. First Amendment boobs. That's my fucking catchphrase now. Hope you all have a good day. Peace out. See you later.